All right. Hello, everybody. Okay, so tonight we are doing the stress and immune health connection. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I don't know if I pulled you away from Tiger King this evening or some other great Netflix show, but I really appreciate you being here with me. A couple housekeeping rules we're going to have. I have Jennifer. She's a registered dietitian. She's going to be answering all your questions on the sideline so I can move smoothly through this. She knows this talk inside and out. We work very closely together. Another thing as well, we are going to have a $200 gift basket up for grabs at the end of the seminar, but you have to stay to the end, and we'll be notifying the winner via email. And then last but not least, I will be discussing some products in this seminar, and we are going to have a coupon code for Body Energy Club at the end of this. So make sure you stay tuned to the end so you get that coupon code. Okay, so just to get started, my name is Ashlie. I'm a registered holistic nutritional counselor. I'm also a certified trainer. I was a trainer for about 10 years in Toronto, and I'm an eating disorder recovery coach. I've had 18 years in the industry of health and wellness, and then of course my personal training, 10 years on top of that. In 2020, I was voted a top 100 health and wellness influencer in Canada. I'm a #1 best-selling author with my book, Bulimia to Balance, which chronicles my journey with eating disorders and actually really is what led to my passion of having my own supplement line. I have 4 books with my daughter, and I've had a daily radio segment on Pulse 107.7 for the past 2 years. And of course, my most prized job to date is the mother of a beautiful little girl named Michaela. And my latest venture is support supplements stemming from my own personal issues that I have had with adrenal fatigue, sleep support, hormonal balance, and then detox as well. But today we're going to be talking about the stress and human connection. So I'll give you some points of discussion. We're going to be talking about managing stress and anxiety holistically and how we do that with mindfulness, nutrition, supplementation, and then we're going to have an overview of what we're just talking about today. So I think it's safe to say we're all a bit stressed right now. I think even in life anyways, we're stressed. Our little hamster here is probably a perfect indication of that right now. And if we look at the stats on stress, 64% of adults experience work-related stress, 64% stress about money, 63% stress about health, and 48% stress about the economy. Now, given the climate with COVID and coronavirus and everything going on, I guarantee you those numbers have skyrocketed. And I love this little thing. Have we tried unplugging 2020, waiting 10 seconds and plugging it back in? I mean, it's been quite wild this past, even month, what's really happened and how fast everything has shifted. And so in that, our stress levels have definitely doubled, tripled, and are not running through the roof, I think, for a lot of us, especially us who are trying to homeschool, which I started yesterday, my daughter, who's grade 6. So how stress affects the body. It's going to leave with brain with difficulty in concentration, anxiety as well. I suffered with severe anxiety. I used to have panic attacks as well. Your skin, your hair, your hair is going to be brittle. Your nails will be brittle. Cardiovascular, you're going to have high blood pressure. You're going to be more prone to heart attacks. Your gut health, which you're going to touch base on that towards the end of this. Your nutrient absorption, if you have dysbiosis, you have like diarrhea, constipation, those type of issues going on. You have inflammation, which is really an indication of high stress. Your reproductive system, ladies, this is something we want to pay attention to as well. Decreased libido and increased PMS symptoms, and also just decreased hormone production. And then last but not least, what we're really talking about today is immune function. So it's going to decrease our immune function, which is something right now we want to make sure our immune function is at its peak, that we're really taking care of our bodies, especially with everything going on. But it lowers your immune defenses and it makes it harder for you to get better. So that's a pretty good reason why we need to pay attention to our stress levels. So with our immune system, it's comprised of billions of white blood cells. Now there's 2 different types of white blood cells. There's lymphocytes, I can say that, I swear, and phagocytes. Now these white blood cells defend against viruses, foreign bacteria, cancerous cells. So whenever you have those antigens entering your body, these are the cells that are really stepping up and fighting them off. And how it does so is, if you look here, this gray matter, those are all red blood cells. Now, red blood cells, of course, is responsible for funneling oxygen all over your body. Lymphatites, gosh, I know I can say that. I can say it all day. If you look, has a very solid nucleus in the center. And if you look at the phagocyte, that actually has more of an open concept. And if you look at it, we're going to explain why this is. So when a pathogen enters the body, it has antigens on it, those little bumps. Now, when you look at the coronavirus, you've seen pictures of it with those little bumps all over it. Those are the antigens. And so the antigens then is recognized by lymphocytes, and then it connects it. So those little point V that clicks on the end of the antigen, right? And it destroys the antigen. So that's what we want to really make sure that we have a good amount of white blood cells. We're taking care of those white blood cells and supporting our body so this can do its job. Now the phagocytes, the pathogen enters the body and the phagocyte recognizes the pathogen and it engulfs it. So if you look at that, that's one of the reasons why it's more open in the center and the cell, the membrane cell, is more solid around the outside, and it destroys it using enzymes. And then it's of course discarded. Now another way it can do this too is the lymphocytes makes them into little bundles, and also then the phagocytes come over and get rid of them there and splits it in half too. So the stress hormone, the reason this is important is when our stress levels are high, or when we have a series of stress, you'll see here with the scale, it goes up and then it starts going down. That's when we go into chronic stress. So our stress hormone lowers our number of white blood cells in our body, and that in turn suppresses your immune system. So this is why stress and your immune connection is also very, very important, and how we can do things with mindfulness, nutrition, and of course supplementation to make sure we're not in a super stress state. So where it all begins is the hypothalamus. So that controls the body's hormones. It controls internal and external conditions and wants your body to remain in homeostasis. So under stress, the hypothalamus releases a hormone that travels to the pituitary gland, which is back here. It's like a little P, and tells the adrenal glands to release cortisol. So your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. They're like two little walnut-shaped glands. They're responsible for stress, as we talked about before, right? So they're responsible for cortisol and adrenaline to be released into your body, and your sleep patterns. It's going to determine your melatonin as well production. That's really important. Also your immune health, what we just talked about with that white blood cell count, and your mood and your mental clarity. And ladies, if you are somebody who is like me, I've had to really learn to do better at this, but kind of is going nonstop, your adrenals actually determine how you take care of your adrenals, and your stress levels in your 20s, 30s, and 40s will determine what your menopause will be like. So really important that we get a hold on how we're dealing with our stress. And cortisol is the hormone that your adrenal pumps out. So what happens when your cortisol is released is your heart rate, your blood pressure, your muscles tense. If anybody has been chased by a bear, not me, or lost their child in the mall, perhaps me, I've done that. Your body shuts down and deals with the system at hand, right? So I got to run, I'm looking for my kid, I'm freaking out. Your digestion and reproduction, that's not really what's going to be going on right then at that point. You're not going to eat a sandwich running through the mall looking for your child. So that's what happens during that time. But so if you pay attention, if that's going on nonstop, that's going to affect also your digestion and reproduction as well. So there's two different types of stress. We have acute stress and chronic stress. So acute stress is that lose your kid in the mall, getting chased by a bear, right? It's actually a good thing. It stimulates memory. It also helps with norepinephrine production. It's actually kind of a good thing every now and then. Bad stress is that chronic stress we're talking about on that very first slide that people find they're experiencing with. And actually, they've done studies where 1 in 5 North Americans feel they don't deal with stress appropriately. And I think right now, it's probably nobody's really dealing with stress appropriately, because we're really in a position where we've never dealt with something like this before. And if we look at our little friend here, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact. He is definitely in an acute stress situation. If he was in this situation all the time, his body would not be faring too well, right? So just to kind of a little recap here, cortisol, of course, suppresses the immune system, as we talked about. It's going to suppress those white blood cells. It's going to decrease serotonin, which is your happy neurotransmitter. You can call it a happy hormone, I guess, if you like, which is composed and compiled in the gut. It decreases your sensitivity to pain. I'm sure we've always, thanks, I'm glad you like the dog meme. I'm sure we've all had those moments when you've hurt yourself, you've been in a car accident per se, and then after you realize you've injured yourself, right? Decreases sensitivity to pain, increases your blood pressure, heightens your memory and attention. Like you're going to make sure next time you go for a walk in the woods that you have a bell, and that maybe your child has bells on her shoes so you know where they are. And increases blood sugar. So one thing you want to remember, when it increases blood sugar, it's going to increase your insulin levels. So if you're somebody who's trying to lose weight, this is going to make storage of body fat. So it's going to make it so you have a hard time releasing your body fat if weight loss is one of your goals. So when I was working with clients for years as a trainer, we would always look at stress supportive techniques that we could apply to their not only training, we looked at nutrition, but also stress support as well. So just kind of a mini recap here on the stress and adrenal fatigue recap. So when we come into a stressful situation, our adrenals release hormones such as adrenaline, right, and cortisol. It's going to elevate your heart, going to make your memory sharp so you can manage threat in a short turn of time. However, it is this long extended stress, and especially as we've been talking about right now, and actually even before this, I think we've been just kind of going nonstop, right? It disrupts your body's processes. So it also puts you at risk of for a lower immunity, which we really want to make sure we're taking care of our immune health right now. So coronavirus, managing stress and anxiety. We're going to break into the second section now, and we're going to go into mindfulness. Mindfulness, to me, this is one of my favorite topics, really and truly, because I truly believe it's what we think is what we become. And so if we look at our slide, we are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves. And I love this slide too. So let's think about this. So right now you're watching me, and right now every thought releases brain chemicals. So hopefully they're all really good thoughts right now, except for my inability to pronounce those words, my words earlier. So by being focused on negative thoughts, it actually saps the brain of positive forcefulness. It slows it down. So when we're thinking all the negativity, it's going to slow your brain down. It's going to slow down your ability to function, and it's going to even possibly cause depression. So when you're watching the news, when you're out and about functioning, when you're having conversations, keep that in mind. Your brain is so powerful. On the flip side, thinking happy, hot, positive, optimistic, joyful thoughts decreases cortisol, which is that stress hormone we're trying to watch for, and produces more serotonin, which we looked at when we're stressed, our body suppresses serotonin. So we want to really try to think or be in control of what we're thinking. And where that stems from, I worked for many years recovering from my eating disorder. I worked as a counselor and coached a lot of girls who are working for eating disorders. Your thoughts create your feelings, create actions, and that's cognitive behavioral therapy. What we think is what we feel and how we're going to act or not act. And even though we might not be able to go out and go in the world as we normally do, our thoughts and feelings and actions still is so important to our own physical well-being. And one way I was able to always kind of bring myself back, especially when I've had panic attacks or anxiety attacks, and some of you might resonate with or use this thought process or technique, is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to really bring yourself back into yourself, to really kind of, okay, I'm here, I'm present, to be present in the moment. Because stress is usually because you're thinking about the future and what's going to happen. And it can get scary if you think about that. I'm a single mom, so trust me, I've just started a small business. I get it. I can go down a rabbit hole very easily, or I can focus on the past and all the things I should have done differently, the things I shouldn't have bought. But all I have is right here, right now. And by doing this exercise, it really brings you back into the right here and right now. And not only do your thoughts have power, but your words have power. There's a book called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and I read it in my early 20s. And the 4 agreements are always act with integrity, your words have power, don't take things personally, and what's the 4th one? Always do your best. There we go. Always do your best. So I always love that book. If you have never read it, I highly suggest you do. But words have power. So I'm going to get you to do a little exercise with me. So everybody kind of like shake it off. If you're sitting next to somebody, they might be looking at you a little weird, but we're going to do this together. So this is going to show kind of that energy we get when we think about how our words are. So first one, I'm so stressed. Like, I'm so stressed. When you think about that and you just own that, I'm so stressed. And if you're there, say it out loud. Just go for it. I'm so stressed. That just feels heavy. You're stressed, right? Your body feels heavy from that. I'm so sad. And trust me, I can get sad, right? We all think about what's going on in the world. I'm so sad. I'm so scared. I'm so sad. You even feel lower, right? But then if we go into, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the opportunities that I'm going to have to grow, that I'm going to grow. I'm so excited for our world to step up with kindness and compassion. I'm so excited for what this is going to bring for all of us, and operating and using not only different thought processes, but different language when we speak to each other. So when you're having those conversations with your neighbors, when you're having conversations with your friends or your family over the phone, not operating in a point of fear, because fear is a very low vibrational energy. We have to be operating with optimism and hope and love, because that's how we're going to get through this. And that's so important in all of this. And that's so important for how your body responds to stress, as we just saw. So as this one, I love this, change your language, change your thoughts, right? So really important, I keep saying important, but really valuable takeaway from this whole conversation is really thoughts create feelings, create actions. So here's some tips for some stress care, self-care, some things that I use. Daily meditation. I'll be honest, I can't meditate that well, but what I do love doing is I love running. And I find when I run, that puts me in a really meditative state. Now I'm not going very fast, I'll be honest, but whatever works for you to get you into that connection. I'm very connected to my breath when I run. So that's my point. But if you are into daily meditation, taking that time for yourself, a gratitude list, my daughter and I, we do what we're grateful for before we eat dinner. Some people choose to do prayer, whatever works for you, but stepping into that space of a thankfulness for all that we have. Movement, we want to sweat out those toxins, right? Sweat out, get your body moving, whatever that may be. I have actually, because I'm working from home, I don't want to do like 45 minutes of weights in my living room. So honestly, what I do is I have my alarm set every hour, and I'll take my weights and I'll do some walking lunges and I'll do some bicep curls. I'll put them down. I do it an hour from now. So every hour I'm doing something. So I'm moving my body essentially all day, but I'm not doing it all in one shot. Only watch the news several times a day. I've actually only watched it once today. I've really cut down and limited my time to the news because it can be quite emotionally draining and can really get us into a scared state. I've unfollowed a lot of pages and people who are just really preaching a lot of conspiracy theories or fear and anxiety because it does not serve me right now. And I've taken the opportunity, to finish your taxes. And fortunately, we are going to have to do them eventually, doing some painting or some organizing. And then above that, I think giving yourself compassion for doing nothing. Because right now, if that's what works for you, that's okay too. Because you're going to stress yourself out if you feel you need to have like a COVID-19 body at the end of this. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about taking care of yourself and your body. Having Zoom calls, staying in touch with others. We did our family Zoom call last Friday. If you have not done one, I promise, give it a try. Just make sure you have a moderator. It's a lot of fun. And create an in-home schedule. I made my daughter a schedule starting Monday with her little homeschooling and myself, and we write down what we're doing every day. It's not super in-depth, but it gives us some structure because we abide well in structure. And for those of you who'd like to know what my quarantine routine is, 9 a.m. to 2 a.m., wake up and stare at my phone. Let's not do that. Let's try to really do some other activities, get out, go for a walk, right? We want to make sure we're not just like completely focused on all those things that are going on. Breath work, last but not least. So as we said earlier, when you are stressed, it shuts down your digestion. So to calm your nervous system before eating, so when you're going to do your great gratitude before eating, you're going to breathe in for 5, for 5. Now we're not going to do 10 rounds because that would be kind of excessive here tonight, but give it a try later. I always find too, before I go to bed, sometimes I'll be in my bed, I'm like, oh, just like loosen up, you know? So this activates our parasympathetic nervous system so your body can digest.
She's doing it so the consumers that are sitting at home and have nothing better to do have something to learn. This could be a learning thing for you.
Oh, are you talking to me? Oh, I have to mute you. There. Okay, so I was going to say too, for some of you who came on late, if you do have any questions, you can put the questions in the side panel. We have Jen, she's our registered dietitian. She will be answering any questions as we go further as well. So as we go from digestion, the best segue, of course, is to nutrition. Nutrition, it's like 90 to 100% nutrition. When I've worked with clients, when they've tried to have different fitness goals, it's really important that we focus on what we're feeding our body. And in this case, especially with our immune health, right? Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And just a PSA, public service announcement, I did mine yesterday. Just put on your jeans maybe every couple of days. I don't have a scale anymore. So my jeans right now are really keeping me on target, making sure everything's well in the kingdom. So with food and with nutrition, we want to really look at acid and alkaline. So bacteria and viruses thrive in acidic environment, right? So we look at some of the foods there on the left, that would be acidic based foods. And in what we want to do is create more an alkaline environment, right? So those diseases and viruses, bacteria cannot thrive. Really important fact there. So how we're going to do is look at some of the macro groups. So we have good carbs as well. So carbs provide you with energy. You want to go, I go between 25 to 35 grams of fiber every day. Really keep everything regular and keep it moving. We've got your whole grains, your fruit, your vegetables. Try to avoid those processed foods. I tend to do a little bit lower carbohydrates and a little bit higher fats. I feel better. I operate better. And that's where it's really important for you to be mindful of how your body operates and feels best for you. We are all very individual. But there's an interesting Yale study that showed that lower carbs and higher fats actually stimulates the immune system. So that's a really interesting study that I just found recently. So we're looking into healthy fats. Of course, you're going to be supporting heart health, brain health, joint support. It's going to stabilize blood sugar. And we've got some wonderful fats out there. I'm sure a lot of you have tried, or maybe you're familiar with keto. So we've got the nuts, the avocados, coconut, ghee, fish oil. All these great fats are going to help with inflammation as well. And then last but not least, we have a high quality protein. This is our 3 macros. So we want to create that lean muscle tissue that's going to keep our metabolism going fast. It's going to stabilize our blood sugar, and some of the lean quality protein sources we can look at, or fish or grass-fed beef or chicken. I prefer grass-fed. They're going to be higher in omega-3. Grain-fed tends to be higher in omega-6. We tend to have an overabundance of omega-6 in our diet right now. So having those high omega-3s, of course, is going to help reduce inflammation as well. And you've got lentils, chickpeas, spirulina, chlorella. We're going to talk about those 2 in a couple slides. And then protein. So if you look at, I know you're all kind of coming from the Body Energy website. I'm a big fan of Body Energy whey protein, and they have a protein isolate as well. So their whey blend, sorry, let me phrase that. Their whey blend has the MCT oil in it, which is really nice too. Tastes fantastic. It's New Zealand, so it's happy cows, happy whey. That's kind of the mentality behind it. So you're making a good conscious choice. And if you're somebody who prefers vegan, if you've had one of their smoothies, a lot of the time they usually make them with the clean vegan. So in that one, they've got the hemp, the yellow pea protein isolate, and sacchaina and sunflower protein. I believe that sunflower proteins, believe that what that is. But one of the big reasons I highly suggest having a protein powder, I have a vegan and a whey in my cupboard, is, in the beginning of all this, everybody's running out buying all these groceries, and protein should be one of the things. It is good. I know it's fantastic. Protein should be one of the things you have in your cupboard. I bought, when I went out and kind of did my list, I did a 2-week list of what my daughter and I go through. So I didn't hoard or go over the top. I just bought enough for 2 weeks, just so I made sure that we were okay in case something happened and I had to be quarantined. I'm a single parent, so it was up to me. But I made sure we had protein, because with protein, when we can have a smoothie and we can have fruit for dinner, or not for dinner, but for breakfast, sorry, or I can make pancakes for dinner and use some of the protein in that. So it's a good, stable source of protein that's not going to go bad. So everybody should get a protein. That's going to be on the end. You can actually get a good deal on this one too. We're having coupons in the end for these products. Next, we got fermented foods, gut support. So, the gut is where 80% of our immune support is in the gut, right? So let's just think about that for a second, 80%. So if you're experiencing gas, bloating, constipation, we really need to look at that. What's going on with your gut health? And in that, you can have kefir, tempeh, sauerkraut. You can make your own sauerkraut at home. I'm actually going to do a little plug here. These are my girls. So this is Tribe. This is apple cider vinegar drink. It's ready to go. Body Energy sells these now. They are local Vancouver companies. So I'm really all about supporting BC women and also Canadian companies right now going on. So if you're in the store next time, I don't know if you can order online, but if you're in the store next time, Tribe, give it a try. It's fantastic. Also looking at probiotics. If I do probiotics, I usually do 70 billion and up, 50 to 70 billion. Kombucha. Yeah, there you're right, Donald. Kombucha is another one. So you want to get those good probiotics in. I used to work for a company back in the day where they didn't have enteric-coated probiotics, so you could crack them open. So in that, I would usually open them up and gargle with them if I was getting a sore throat. But probiotics, of course, to really make that good gut health as well. Oh, I have some. Oh, you have some at home. Nice. That's awesome. Actually, I'm going to let Jen answer these questions. Otherwise, I'll get lost in the questions. And then we have, of course, enzyme force. So if you are experiencing gas, bloating, or constipation, you want to look at if you're taking a digestive enzyme. So what that's going to do, that's going to help support your body, because it's not only what you eat, but it's what you absorb as well. If you are somebody who has had their gallbladder removed, gallbladder surgery, removal of gallbladder is one of the number one surgeries in Canada. And I am so shocked when I find out that doctors don't tell patients that they should be on an ox bile or some sort of digestive enzyme, a fat digestive enzyme for their clients. I was actually, no word of a lie, in the hospital about 2 weeks ago, and a nursing assistant in there, and she'd never heard of it. And she can't eat, she's very, very careful on the fats she can have. When I told her about it, I wrote it down. So keto enzyme, of course, has that ox bile, and it's going to help your body break down those fats. So if you don't have a gallbladder, super duper important to make sure you're on that. And then superfoods, which is kind of my, I guess you could say one of my favorite sections. So it's these nutrient dense food, these powders, right? So we've got the large doses of antioxidants, polyphenols, you got your vitamins and minerals in there, like your blueberries, your turmeric, your kale, your spirulina, your chlorella. All these wonderful superfoods have really come to the forefront for antioxidant support, cellular health, reducing inflammation, promoting eye health as well, energy and stamina, and helping those healthy gut microbes. We can't forget that. And of course, it's going to help with immunity. So one of my favorites is chlorella. 16 vitamins and 8 minerals, 19 amino acids, and 9 essential amino acids, which means it's a complete protein. So it's a complete protein source. It's the richest source of chlorophyll, right? So you got a highly digested protein that has your high omega-3s and your omega-6s. It's going to help with detoxification. It helps with digestion. It also helps carry heavy metals out of the body and helps with the immune health as well. And then the next one we've got there is the spirulina. Spirulina, I always say that one kind of funny. So anti-inflammatory, antibacterial. It's going to help with heart health. You can read all the things there. I don't need to read them to you. But again, you got that chlorophyll in there. It's going to help remove heavy metals. And again, it has your immune health, and it's rich in calcium and minerals. I cannot say this enough. I take a greens once or twice a day. I am a greens fan. If you're going to take anything, greens are it. That's really, I really do believe greens are super, super important for everybody to have, especially by the time we get a lot of our vegetables and then we cook them, we don't really have the nutrients. At least we're getting the nutrients in these products. So one of my favorites, and I've actually got it here, is aqua greens. So this is both of those combined. You got the spirulina and chlorella combined together. The reason I like aligning myself with Prairie Naturals, it's a BC company. I love that too. It's a family-run company, so Canadian small business, really important, I think, especially now, especially Body Energy, as well as a small local business too, really supporting these smaller companies, especially this time and age, what's going on. So with Aqua Greens, it's organic, non-GMO, kosher, vegan. You got all those wonderful things. And like, if you can look at this, like, look at how green that is. I don't know if you can see that, but how pretty is that? Like, just an amazing product. You can make smoothies with it. I have my smoothie and my cookbook coming up next. I'm actually gonna, I don't know if I sent you my smoothie recipe. Yeah, but this is the Green Monster smoothie. It's in my cookbook, Smoothies for a Fast-Paced Mom. I add it into there. You can also just take, if you have a pesto, you can actually just put this into pesto. So I buy like store pesto, and I actually just add this, and you do not taste it. So if you have little kids and you want to get them a really good, greens product, and then you don't even have to put beef and all that other stuff into it. You can just have this with some, nice spaghetti, whole grain, organic spaghetti, and this on top of some pesto. It's phenomenal. Let me make sure here. Are you, Jen, are you seeing these questions on the side? You make sure Jen's seeing those. Yes, I will have links to all the products I mentioned. And yes, yes, it does work for sure on keto diet. Both of them do. Oh, there we go. She's on there. Okay. Okay. Next one is turmeric. I'm sure some of you have probably seen turmeric. It's that bright, beautiful yellow. Again, that deep, rich color that we want to have. When you open it up, if you're not careful, your fingers will turn yellow. So be careful when you're cooking with it. Fights inflammation. This is really phenomenal. My daughter's Oma, who lives out in Toronto, she has really bad arthritis in her knees, and she has been using the Prairie Naturals turmeric, the fermented turmeric, and she has just been raving about it. So it's really neat to hear kind of that firsthand experience, how it's made a difference with people. So it also helps with skin health, regulates cortisol. It's a natural detoxifier. And when we look at, oops, sorry here, the fermented turmeric from Prairie Naturals is the reason why we want to do fermented. So the turmeric from Prairie Naturals, again, this is the same company, a local company, organic, non-GMO, antioxidant rich, and it's fermented. So when it's fermented, that's when it's actually going to have 50% more than regular turmeric powder. So you can go buy your turmeric powder from the grocery store, But when it's fermented is actually when your body's going to absorb it even more. So fermentation, sorry, on my lip. Sorry. Fermentation is when it's pre-digested, so it actually reduces the sugar. It's going to increase the levels of vitamins. It's also going to make it more available for minerals and more bioavailable for those antioxidants. So all the things you want in that curcumin and in that turmeric is going to be more bioavailable when you actually have it fermented. So it's not just buying a store-bought regular fermented turmeric. You really want to look for fermented and organic as well. And we have an organic turmeric, but turmeric vegan chili. I have that in my smoke cooking for a fast-paced mom, and she might be able to put that recipe up on the side there too. So I'll get her to, if she finds it. Next, reducing your sugar. So it decreases immunity. I have an 11-year-old, as I said, and I don't know if anybody knows, but after Halloween, most kids get sick. And the reason being, of course, is because these bacteria thrive on sugar. So it's really important that we reduce our sugar right now, kind of keeping it at a low as much as we can. Of course, we know the other issues with sugar. It's going to, diabetes and obesity and heart disease. And it also accelerates aging. So I will say this, I know for most women, our nails are going to be growing out, our eyelashes are going to be gone, we're not going to get our hair colored. So we don't be eating lots of sugar right now. Let's keep the aging. So with all the stuff that's going to be kind of going on cosmetically over the next little while with all the women, we want to also keep our sugar down as well. And then water. We've heard this so many times. This is not new. I know I'm not preaching something new. Making sure we have that water. It's going to flush out those toxins. So when you're doing that movement every day, it's going to drain out your lymphatic glands. It's going to get that 8 to 10 glasses, even more if you want to. They've also said, the World Health Organization, to keep your throat moist with warm water and water to really kind of keep flushing everything, right? So it's really, really important. When you wake up in the morning, I'm going to say this quickly. When you wake up in the morning, your cortisol, I'm going to kind of backtrack for a second, is at the highest. And that's when most of us drink our coffee. We actually don't need our coffee first thing in the morning. Usually we're pretty good in the morning. So if you can, really try to have water first thing in the morning, or some lemon and water in the morning, and then wait to have that caffeine later on in the day if you need to. Okay, and now we're going to jump into supplementation. This is the third part of the seminar. So we know stress seems to kind of deplete everything in our body, right? Not a good thing, but it also decreases the vitamins and minerals. And so without that, of course, our system becomes weak again, and we're not able to fight off those viruses and pathogens. So the first kind of star of the show today, there are so many supplements that are phenomenal for your, oh, you can't find the recipe? Okay, I can post it after. There are so many wonderful supplements on the market to support your immune health. So I'd have you here all night if I kept going, but I'm going to talk about some superstars and some of the ones that I keep in my house. Vitamin D, I think we can all attest to that one. So here's some vitamin D rich foods. We've got fortified cereals, orange juice, egg yolk, mushrooms, cod liver oil, fatty fish. So vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, and it's made from the sun. Now, I live in Vancouver. I'm not sure where everybody else lives, but in Vancouver, it tends to be kind of rainy for the most part. So it's really important that we're supplementing with vitamin D. And Body Energy Club has a great vitamin D. It's 1,000 IUs per serving, and it's actually with olive oil to help with your absorption. Now, I take 5,000 in the morning and 5,000 at night during the winter months. I take 10,000 IUs a day of vitamin D. When it becomes more the summertime, I'll lower those dosages down, but I do a high dosage of vitamin D right now. And I give my daughter a high dosage of vitamin D. This is going to help support our immune system. And especially right now with COVID, it's really important that we're getting the vitamin D in, especially because it's been raining out lately. I was talking to Prairie Naturals holistic pharmacist. We had a really interesting conversation the other day, and she was giving me some tips. And to be honest with you, I went out and I got 6 of the vitamin D liquid. And the reason being is she expressed to me that if you feel the onset of some of the symptoms from COVID-19, she suggests, and she's a holistic pharmacist, she suggests doing 15 mil. So that's a 30 mil, I believe, of Body Energy, but a 15 mil a day. So almost doing like 100,000, I believe it is, be almost 100,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. You're going to really saturate your system with vitamin D, and you're going to follow that up with a vitamin C. And then you're only going to do that for 3 days, and then you're going to drop that back down. So you're really saturating your system with the vitamin D, and then moving on to vitamin C. So we're going to go into the next slide next, and Jen will be answering those questions on the side for you. So vitamin C, Also, and not just from oranges, but red peppers, broccoli, papaya, strawberries. So some really good vitamin C sources that we have in our diet. We want to make sure that we are getting those good foods, right? Like, I'm not saying just to take supplements, that we really want to focus on good foods, but they've shown that in order to get that dosage you need every day, you'd have to take 500 milligrams minimum of vitamin C, plus make sure you have your servings of fruits and vegetables every day, because the fact our nutrients are so depleted, because we've overcropped our soil. So taking an extra supplement like vitamin C, I'm all over it. I take 1 to 2 a day, depending. So what you can do, and this is something else I was talking to Rosemary about, is they're saying, she has some kind of inside sources, but they're saying that in China, one of the things they did was they started doubling up on the vitamin C, the vitamin D, and also the elderberry as well. And that's one of the reasons they were able to kind of get the viruses under control. Now, with the vitamin C, you can also do a vitamin C flush. If you find you're constipated, you can keep taking vitamin C until you get diarrhea, and will flush your system out. It's called the vitamin C flush. You can Google that after if that's something you're interested in as well. The Body Energy Club is 1,000 milligrams of ascorbic acid, and it's timed release as well. So you have that rosehip, and you got the citrus in there because you need that for absorption. And what an interesting fact is that 10% of adults only 10% of adults get the required vitamin C in their diet. So only 10%. So 90% of us are walking around not getting that vitamin C. So that's why it's another star, and making sure that we get that and we supplement that as well. It's a great antioxidant, immune system booster, and of course it's going to help with stress too, right? And it actually is sensitive to stress, because when you are stressed, your body tends to leach more of the vitamin C out of your body. Another little product that I love, so this is Citrus Soother Cold and Flu. Now, you might not have heard of this one. I have an 11-year-old, and so for the parents even on this call, or the non-parents as well, this is an incredible drink that your kids can have and you can have as well. You serve it warm. It's like a natural neocitrin, if I'm really going to be honest with you. It's immune boosting, antiviral protection. You've got lemon, honey, and ginger that's going to provide hydration and soothing the throat. Then you've also got honey, of course, is antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. You've got the lemon juice, which is a powerful antioxidant. You've got the ginger that's going to help immune boosting, and then it's non-GMO, gluten, and dairy free. So it's a really neat product. And here's the ingredients. I think I had those slides backwards, sorry. So when we look at the ingredients, you've got lemon balm in there. That's going to help with stress, the 10-to-1. You got the elderberry in there, which is immune support berry. It's a really powerful one. It's really kind of it's become very, very popular in the past little bit. You got your echinacea, your ginger, your vitamin D. You got 1,000 IUs of vitamin D in there. You got your calcium ascorbate with 500 milligrams of vitamin C, and then you've got your zinc. So what's interesting with this is I find that a lot of parents, you can put the D drops in your child's drink, and they can have the, you can do that, and they can kind of get away with it. Your kids won't notice it. But a lot of kids don't want to take pills. They don't want to take a vitamin C. Maybe they're chewing the chewable stuff, and I'm not really fond of that. You can have this every night before you go to bed. You and your kid can sit down, and right now my daughter and I are watching a show together. So we have this every night before we go to sleep. It's going to build up her immune system. That lemon balm is going to put her in a calm state and get her to sleep well. And we sleep fantastic. And then we're also supporting our immune system. So it's fantastic for kids and for parents. So if you are feeling the onset, it's a nice warm drink to have, especially because it's still kind of chilly out. Lastly, we're going to start talking about adaptogenic herbs. So we're going to talk about a stress support and a sleep support quickly. And those are my two products that were formulated by a dear friend of mine, Don Gavro. He's one of the leading supplement formulators in Canada. And so how adaptogens work, it actually helps your body with varying physical and emotional stresses. So the very first product we came out with was Restore, which is our stress support product. So not only does it provide adrenal support, it's going to help with energy and also cognition. So we put some ingredients in here that are quite different than any other stress support product on the market. We have Chinese hawthorn. Chinese hawthorn has a study in 2018 with stress-induced depression and how it's had a positive effect on that. Then it also helps with bowel regularity, which is really important as well. We talked about stress, of course, with constipation. We have the KSM 66 ashwagandha, which is the highest grade ashwagandha you can get. We've used Bacopa. Nobody has that in their product. And Bacopa actually helps with cognitive benefits, focus, and clarity. We've had astragalus and Shashandra as well. Astragalus for immune support, and then Shashandra, of course, as well to help with that cortisol levels, and the B5, which is the anti-stress vitamin to help with your to help your body use your protein, fats, and carbs. So the whole idea behind this product, you take it in the afternoon, it's going to eliminate that 3 o'clock crash, get you through the day, and help support your stress. So it's a really kind of great add-on product if you have your, making sure you have your D's, of course, and your C's and your other kind of more fundamentals. But if you are looking for a stress support product, this has definitely made a dramatic impact on my life and my adrenals. And so I'm really proud of this product. And then the next one we have is Snooze. And Snooze, believe it or not, you know, your adrenals have a big part to play, as we said earlier, in your sleep production. So making sure, oh, yay, you love Restore. That's nice, thank you. So Snooze is really important. I call it my 3 a.m. solution. I always ask people when they're sleeping, do you have a hard time getting to sleep, or do you have that hard time, do you wake up at 3 a.m. and you can't sleep? And I am a 3 a.m.er, can't sleep. So I didn't want a product that I have to take every single night, because sometimes I sleep through the night. So with Snooze, the beauty about it is if you are somebody who can't sleep through the night, you can take it then. But if you don't sleep, if you are somebody who wakes up at 3, don't take it before you go to bed, and only take it at 3 a.m. and you will not have a sleep hangover. There's no melatonin in it. You can get that next 3-4 hours of really deep rested sleep and wake up and be on your way. So in this, we have Chinese hawthorn again, as I said, bowel regularity and stress. We put valerian in there. That's going to put you in a nice rested, relaxed state. Passion flower helps with night sweats, again, relaxing. L-theanine and GABA, those two together, they've really shown to kind of be a powerful duo in helping with sleep and relaxation. And then of course, magnesium glycerate, which is the highest grade magnesium you can get. So this product in general is really made to help support your adrenals as well at night while you're sleeping, kind of balance out your natural melatonin production, reduce your cortisol level, and then help you get that great night's sleep and wake up with no sleep hangover. So the two products together, scientifically formulated, they're non-GMO, they're vegan, they're a 1 a day. We are local as well. I'm a BC company and I'm Canadian, and a portion of every single bottle sold is donated to the Downtown Eastside Women's Shelter. We've been doing that since we started a year ago, so I'm really proud of that. We're continuing that on. So not only helping our consumers, hopefully, with the products, but also to help those that are in need. So some of the takeaway lessons, we're going to go through these quickly again. So the first thing what we need to remember is our thoughts, right? When we're dealing with stress, our immune system is it's really dependent on not only what we're thinking, but it's also nutrition and of course supplementation. But in that, cognitive behavioral therapy, thoughts create feelings, create actions, listening to your words, pay attention to that language that you're having with others, really landing in gratitude, pay attention, take some breathing, move your body, watch what you watch what you let into your life. That's really important too. Take that time, talk to a friend, and looking at this as an opportunity. I was watching somebody's really good post the other day, and they were talking about this is an opportunity to get to know ourselves, because we're going to be alone this weekend. My daughter's going to her dad's for the first time in a really long time, and there can definitely be some fear that arises from that because I'm going to be all by myself. But I'm really welcoming it because it gives me a real chance to kind of just be. And I think that's something that we all can learn from this. It's okay if we're alone. It's okay to kind of really get to know ourselves. So it's actually a real gift, I believe. And then of course in supplementation, we want to have those whole food ingredients, really avoid those processed foods right now. Walking through their grocery store the other day, you know, I was looking at somebody, this is in the beginning of all this, and I swear to gosh, they must have had like 4 things of toilet paper. And then they had all of this horrible processed kind of crappy food in their cart. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, all that toilet paper in the world is not going to save your body. Right? So it's really, really important that we're taking care of this one vessel we get and supporting our immune system, right? Supporting our body, moving it every day, and really realizing how wonderful it is that we do exist and that we do have the ability to have health and wellness. So trying to eliminate those processed foods, getting those healthy fats in, having organic or grass-fed when we can, having those good, lean, quality protein powders like the vegan protein and also the whey and the isolate available from Body Energy Club. Getting those green leafy vegetables in, getting those superfoods, taking care of our gut health, trying to reduce that sugar, and of course, getting your water in. And then last but not least, that's when you supplement, right? So make sure you're getting the aqua greens. That's one thing. I highly suggest getting a greens in your day, or getting a turmeric if you want to use that for cooking. I add that to so many different recipes that I use. Getting that vitamin D, I can't stress that enough. I definitely have that in my little arsenal of supplements. I guess my COVID supplements, I guess you could say. Getting that vitamin C as well. And if you need additional support, making sure you have a product like Restore or Snooze to get you through. And then last but not least, having Citrus Soother if you'd like to have an immune support for a drink at night, and also even with your kids. Okay, so that's something else you can do. So I'm going to get everybody, even though I can't see you, this is one of my favorite things I love to do, and my daughter and I do it together. So if you can, you're going to hold your pinky up, and you might feel really weird because I don't know where you are, but I know you're not out in public. So, and you're going to wiggle your pinky. And the really cool thing when you think about it is your brain tells your pinky to move before it moves. And somewhere right now, there's somebody who wishes they could do this. So what we need to always bring this back to is we are so blessed to be who we are. And yes, there's a lot of uncertainty going on in the world, but that if we can remain grounded and not be into the fear and try to really remain present, I know we're all going to get through this together. There's a lot of good going on in the world right now. And I think we need to really focus on that instead of focus on the fear, and understand that we're always taken care of. I do believe that as well. So tonight, this is some of the offers. Thank you. Body Energy Club has provided. Body Energy Club, I just absolutely love them. They're a wonderful group of people. I've worked with them now going on, I think, 13 years, to be honest with you. So these are some of the products they've put up for grabs, and you can go into, it's bodyenergyclub.com/collection/healthy15. You're going to get 15% off all of the products I talked about. They also put some extra goodies in there for you guys too. You have, I believe it's 48 hours is what you have, and that special stops from that point on. So I just want to make a mention that all of the products are all Canadian. So that's one thing. You're really supporting the Canadian economy right now by helping all of us out. You're supporting a local business as well, BC business, which is really cool. So we got the aqua greens, the turmeric, the citrus soother, restore snooze, vitamin C, vitamin D, the liquid, and of course the gels. And then of course you have the protein powders, and I believe they put some gainers in there too. So that's some of the specials there. Last but not least, I think Jen's been able to answer everything on the side there. So if you do have any questions, you can always email me at education@aerywellness.com. We will be doing more of these seminars. I'm thinking of hosting another one in a couple weeks. You can also visit the website or give us a follow over at Aeryon Wellness on our Instagram page. And I love to be stalked as well from a distance. I was going to say one more thing. It's not, you know, how they're saying social distancing. I wanted to mention this. I don't think it should be really social distancing. I think we need to reframe that. It really has to be personal space distancing, you know, because we want to stay close together. We need to stay really connected. So on that note, if you want to not social, like, yeah, to, you know, socially distancing stalk me, I don't mind that. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all the different ways you can find me. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you so much for all of you for coming in today. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you all again in another seminar.